Hey guys, and welcome to Faewood. You might remember these letters if you've been watching my videos for a while, because I've had these for quite some time and had a project in mind for these. Interesting if you guys can think of some words or sayings that include all the letters that I'm holding up right now. See if you guess it. So finally I'm getting around to creating this project. I wonder if any one of you have actually guessed what this saying is. Feel free to go back and have a look at that video or check out the letters and try and work it out before the end of the video. I'll be very impressed if anyone works it out. So I spray paint all of the letters, and I had a bit of a mix of types of letters. And for each letter I decided to commemorate one of my videos, and this first one that I'm commemorating is the very first tutorial that I ever did on YouTube, and that was for my jewellery tree. Now, if you've watched these videos, you've seen me glue these little bits of bark to my bowl and then decorate the bark with like pieces of wool and all of that sort of stuff. I had no idea what I was doing when I first started this tutorial. I hadn't even done a voiceover in my life. I really didn't know what sort of tutorial I was going to do, and I hadn't done any, fast speed editing. I hadn't done virtually any editing up until that point. So I was pretty happy with the outcome all in all. In fact, I was actually really happy with this technique. It was just something that, I thought would be cool to do. I'd never tried anything like this before. As I was going along, I put wool on it. I hadn't really planned ahead on what exactly I was going to do, but then I decided to use the wool. It just really came together. So I hope you guys have had a look at that video and tried some of the techniques, because honestly I think it's a really fun technique to use. And I really love silk fusion, so this was a way to use it in sort of an altered art kind of technique. So I thought that was pretty fun. Now, on all of these letters, I'm using a gold foil rub, and then using some copper mica powder. As you can see, I'm just sprinkling that over the top as a way to make all of them a little bit gold and a little bit bronze, so they all fit together. So this second letter was my second part of the first tutorial. So I ended up, the tutorial was going to be way too long to do as one full tutorial because I did so much decoration of the pot. So I decided to do a second video, and that was me being super professional. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was making a mess of everything and looking so awkward. You can see I'm gluing in some moss and stuff like that into the pot. So I ended up using sticks for this letter to, commemorate the second half of the tutorial, which was very much just adding the actual tree part to the jewellery tree after I decorated the pot. And I made it sort of a fairy, enchanted fairy looking pot, and added moss, leaves, little mushrooms, a couple of little fairies, and I was pretty happy with how that really turned out. So the next letter that I'm commemorating, I'm doing these in order of how the videos came out, and I did a magic mirror, sort of a gothic mirror tutorial. I was so happy with how this came out, I have to be honest. You guys know, if you've been watching my videos, that I really love this tubing with the wire in the middle, because I've just used it in a lot of projects where I'm wanting something to look like it's got a big old vine that's grown around it that looks gnarled and, you know, magical and enchanted almost. And so I used that for this mirror that we'd pulled out of the bathroom when we did the renovations and decided to decorate it. So I added all sorts of little flowers that I spray painted onto this mirror. I made it very black and gold. I'd been watching Snow White and the Huntsman just before putting this mirror together, so I was quite inspired by that, and there's a lot of, you know, gold and black imagery in that movie, and I just thought Charlize Theron was awesome in that video. I loved that darkness, and a lot of times you don't see a lot of gold in Gothic jewellery. It's usually silver, so I like having the gold in this. Now this wasn't as popular, this video, but again I did enjoy doing this project. This was a rose fascinator that I used for a costume for a Christmas function that I went to, where it was a Mexican theme dress up party, and I decided to go as, you know, a Day of the Dead sugar skull sort of makeup, and I really wanted to do one of the real nice rose floral hair pieces that you often see them wear. So I got all sorts of beautiful roses and things and feathers and all of that sort of stuff, and made a fascinator out of all of that stuff. Now, fascinators are so fun to make. If you haven't made one, I recommend you give it a try, because you can kind of do whatever you like with them. You can grab a whole bunch of feathers and flowers and kind of use your creativity and go nuts with it. And obviously got to have some glitter, so added the Nouveau glitter on the end there, and then a bit of the I had a spray kind of copper that worked out pretty well, but I still put some of the mica copper on top, and the gold rub as well, to really make everything blend together. This was a fun one as well. So I was actually commissioned by a friend to make this for his girlfriend, and it's a spiderweb necklace. Now, I had no idea when I started how I was going to make this necklace, but I decided to go with what I know, which is embroidery jewellery, and get some of the chain and actually use that to sew the cobweb together. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. I wouldn't recommend that you try this unless you're quite adept with embroidery jewellery. It's tricky. It's not the most tricky embroidery jewellery, but it'll take a really long time, and it is quite fine. It needs, you know, very small stitches, lots of small beads, but I was super happy with how this came out, and I did always mean to go and make one for myself because I really loved it. Haven't had the time, so I actually haven't gone back and made myself a necklace like this, but gosh, I really must do that because I thought it came out quite well. Now, this was another commission project to make a Christmas bauble, and it was around the time
who live in Australia
when the laws changed in Australia.
Know that this year marks a very special step forward for the rights of same-sex couples to get married. They put forward a vote for the country, and you know, I was really pleased to see that a majority of Australians did vote yes for that vote. of same-sex marriage to be legalised in Australia. And I was even more heartened to see that the government actually took that and made those changes and made them really quickly. So it's been wonderful to know that, I have many friends who are gay and, have long-standing relationships, and now they can finally get married as they should always have been able to do.
So this was a really fun project, not least because I got to play with lots of shiny things. So I decided, because I had so many different tiny little shiny rainbow, not sequins, but little gems and things like the little rhinestones, to use those to make this bauble. And I made a little montage inside that had, the two girls, and they have a dog and a cat, so I made the dog and the cat, and a Christmas tree, and, did the whole thing, put snow. So for this letter, I decided to, again, use all of the little rhinestones and make a rainbow eye. So this is me painting the girls onto a little piece of cardboard. I put a little bit of wool inside the bauble.
One more crowning glory
I had to do a letter about this.
Won't fit filming that way. And it's my raven / crow guy.
I love my raven, he's the best, so I had to definitely do a video to commemorate him. I think he's technically a crow, but I like to think of him as a raven, just because I think ravens are really cool. And I had these feathers, so I spray painted them all black. That I pulled off. It was actually a pair of earrings, if you believe. Like, they're so massive. I can't believe anyone could wear them on the earlobes. But my friend Nicole gave me all of this secondhand jewellery, and it's been so great for so many projects. I've ended up using it in so many different things. And one of them was these massive, crazy earrings that had feathers hanging off them. So I clipped all the feathers off and spray painted them and glued them onto my letter for my raven, and then added jewels on top of that because, ravens apparently love shiny things, which is perfect commemoration of myself. So I thought he would look really cool just sitting on one of the branches of the jewellery tree.
How cool is that? I love him. He is missing a little bit of black from the tip of his beak there. This one I did get from AliExpress. It was packaged really well in a styrofoam container. The wings were off, and they have little markers where the wings go so that you can just push them in. It's styrofoam, so you just push them into the body, and then you've got your finished, I think it was a crow, but I like to think of it as a raven. I don't know, I just think ravens are cool. But then again, I think Maleficent has a crow. I believe it's a crow. So, I might sit it over near my Maleficent costume, and I think it'll be right at home there.
So apparently ravens love round, shiny things. I also love round, shiny things. So therefore, I love ravens. Now, I was really pleased with this wand. I've never made a wand like this before, but it was so much fun that I did want to make even more of these wands, and I have actually bought a couple of blank wooden wands to eventually do up again because I just really had fun with this. I'm still looking for a good source of wooden wands that aren't too expensive, because these were $8 a pop, and that's a fair bit if you did want to resell it. So I just used these little star sticker things to represent, you know, the star of the wand, and then because I made 2 different ones, I did 2 different colours to match the colour of each wand that I made. So the first one was the one that I made for myself, and then after I finished that wand, I made another one for my friend Jen for the mythical markets for last year. So this is the other wand. This is a dark fairy wand. I think it looks super cool, and I added in some other colours and dark red flowers and things for this one. I really loved the way this one came out, and it was, you know, really fun to see how different the 2 wands were. Again, it was such a fun project. I recommend you give it a go if you haven't done something like this before, because honestly you can do whatever you like to these, and it always comes out different each time, but I liked both just as equally as each other. Again, I'm using that wire filled tubing that I love so much and think is freaking awesome. Lots of glitter and sparkles. I used a bit of nail polish on these actually, which is also a fun way to paint things, because there's so many different amazing nail polish colours that you can get for bugger all, and they're great in projects. So I used that, tons of glitter, so much fun. And then I had these tiny little like butterfly things that I got from Etsy, and you know, they weren't very expensive at all, and they looked really cool just flying around on little bits of ribbon. So these are my fairy wings that I made for the mythical markets last year, and I again was really pleased with how these came out as well. It's my most watched video, so I do actually have another wing tutorial coming soon that I hope you guys like just as much. As I'm filming this, it's not out yet though. So I used a lot of the same colours, and you know, I used a lot of different lace pieces on these wings, so I've used the same lace on the letter. I've put all different colours of flower lace that I used on there. I used the same type of glitters and things so that it had that look of the fairy wings. I really wanted to make an awesome tutorial for fairy wings because I personally wanted one myself. I was trying to buy a really nice pair of fairy wings and nothing was quite what I wanted, and you know, I didn't want to buy any wings because I didn't have enough time for them to arrive, plus I wanted to make them how I wanted them to look. So that's sort of where this tutorial was born, because of all of those reasons. And I've since had some pictures from people who've made the wings as well, and I love it. So yeah, if you guys ever make any of my tutorials, send me a picture, I'd love it. Alright, so this video was a bit of a schmozzle when I first started. I think this is about the same time that my ring light started to die. Venetian micro bead. They're made in Italy, and I believe they're no longer made. These because they're so fucking tiny. So tiny,
They actually don't fit past the head of the size 15 needle.
Yeah, I didn't know what the hell to do with these beads, so they ended up on a letter. I should have used a bigger letter really so I could use more beads, but I bought all these different size beads to show you guys what they all look like. Now this was my jewellery collection. I did a full sort of planned out jewellery collection and showed you guys how I did it, how I plan it, how I source the beads and decide what to use, and put it all together, and tried to film as much of that as I could to show you guys how I do it all. I filmed this video without any talking in it because I was so sick. I had the flu. This was like the second time I had the flu that year, and it was so bad that I sounded terrible. I couldn't be on camera, and I hadn't filmed ahead for that week because I'd been sick for so long. So I was like, oh crap, what am I going to do? I need a video. And I thought, oh, well, I'm just about finished the jewelry collection. Maybe I'll film it and I'll just put some awesome music to it, and then I won't have to talk and then I can share a video. And I think that was the only week for a really long time that I've only had one video for that week, and that was because of how sick I was. So for this letter, I had a necklace that had fallen apart and decided instead of fixing it, I was going to sacrifice it to the gods and use it in the letter. Aha, this is the video I did with my niece, Holly, and she loved it.
Kind of silver one.
Does that... Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, we had a little bit of teething problems there.
Yeah. Oh, whoa.
Oh, wow. All right. Emergency glitter explosion.
Yeah.
We made a bit of a mess.
Okay, but I gotta move everything out of my way. How do we do this?
Running out of room quickly.
We made a mess of ourselves.
Butterflies.
We made a mess of the room.
You have to move stuff.
That's right.
Maybe not micro beads.
No?
Yeah, because they're too spilly.
Yeah, that's true. And you need a lot of
She
glue
says
to
this
stick
after
the
making a
micro
mess
beads
of everything else.
Maybe.
Oh no! Maybe pull your sleeve up
And then
for a moment. So you don't get
ended
any
up with
additional
glitter all on
glitter in
her
there.
clothes and everything like that.
It's so hard.
Made a big mess
Yeah.
of everything.
Some more glitter on her sleeve there.
Did I ever have a shower soon?
You can have a shower.
Yeah, she needed a shower by this point.
Yes.
Such a diva.
Maybe I won't try it because I don't like making messes that much.
Did you like
pretty
being
sure
on the
she likes
channel,
messes.
I loved it. See you guys next time.
And that's the only time she's been on so far. Alright, so I thought it'd be a great idea and really easy to do a nice, fun, sparkly cooking challenge. I was wrong.
Hey craft nerds, how's it going? So welcome to the first, and depending on how this goes, potentially last, cooking
Yeah,
with the craft
definitely
nerds.
last. At least there hasn't been a second one since. If you guys really want one, let me know. But this, oh my god, this was so much harder than I was expecting. I don't know what sort of weird ass banana my husband bought, but like, I can't get this bloody thing open. Let me in! That was not staged. Pretty sure I lost my mind. Now this was a massive project, but it was so much fun to do. So we went and did a class on how to make lanterns, and then took our projects home and continued on with it. And each year at winter solstice in Belgrave, there's a lantern parade. So we decided this time we were going to be in the lantern parade. It was a great project. I really enjoyed this, and I decided to go for the white stag because if you guys know me and know my channel, you know that I saw a white stag in my backyard, and it's quite significant in Celtic culture. It's also a significant thing in sort of Fae mythology, you know, signalling the coming of Fae folk and things like that. So I really wanted to do my lantern based on the white stag. Now that was a pretty freaking hard lantern to do, but I managed to do it. So I was pretty happy with the outcome of this thing. It was heavy to wear though. And then we went in the lantern parade. Now, I can't see a goddamn thing in this thing. I had to be led by Jen. So when you see Jen next to me and sort of holding my hand like I'm some sort of, you know, royalty or what have you, it was just literally because I couldn't see where I was going and she was leading me through the procession. But it was worth it because so many people loved the costume and, you know, got a kick out of seeing it. The kids just loved it. And, you know, that's what I love. That's why I love doing things like that, because, you know, to bring a smile to someone, to make them feel awesome about seeing something inspirational or really cool. So, and there was so many other awesome lanterns, as you can see. We even have our own wizard in Belgrave, which is pretty cool. It was such a great experience. I don't know if I'd wear the lantern again because it was so heavy on my head. I've got it strung up in my studio now and I love seeing it up there. It's really cool. Now, I had quite an extensive catalogue of videos for this necklace. It was the first time I tried to film doing a art jewellery piece on YouTube. I'm not sure if anyone else has tried this, but god damn, it's a lot of editing. And you know, there's a lot of steps to one of these pieces, but I thought it would be fun to actually show one from start to finish. I can't guarantee that I will show one being made again because it was just, I mean, it's just so much editing. Each video that I edited was around 10 to 12 hours worth of footage. So if you've never edited, you probably don't know how hard that is to edit, but let me tell you, it took, you know, a few days to get that edited. Yeah, it was quite hard, but I'm glad I did it, and I'm so happy with how the necklace turned out. I actually have another centerpiece that I've bought from Olivia as well, who I bought the Augra centerpiece from. And I will be making another necklace. I might do it more of a project share, so just showing you, you know, stages, not the actual full making of. I'll show you something though, for sure. So now for this same letter, I had to mention the goblin ball itself because the dark crystal costume was all part and parcel of going to the goblin ball, and I've always wanted to go, and finally had a group of people to go with to the goblin ball, and it was so much fun. Big thank you to Erin for organising the tickets. If you haven't watched my video for that event, definitely go and watch it. If you're in Victoria or even in Australia, have a think about going to the event because it's so great. I ended up winning best dress, so I was so chuffed, you know, because I really was proud of the costume that I made for this. I think it's the best one that I've made so far. I had a glowing headpiece, I had glowing pauldrons, obviously the necklace that I made some, you know, beaded pieces, And each part of the costume, I tried to take you guys along and show you what I was making and how I was doing it. So now that all the pieces are made for the sign, have you guessed what it says? This is the piece of wood that it all gets mounted on eventually, and I've just painted that with some acrylic paint. And there's the finished sign. I hope you guys have enjoyed the videos I've brought to you so far. I hope you keep watching. Welcome to Faewood for all the new people. And for the rest of you, I shall see you next time in the land of Fae. Bye guys.